The turning you're going to see today has been a long time coming. I met Tim McKenzie back in about 2018, 2019 at the Mid-Ohio Valley Pin Turners Gathering, and Tim is the owner of a company called Diamond Cast, and they make these gorgeous blanks. They're Alumilite resin with diamond chips in them, and they sparkle. They're absolutely gorgeous when you get them under a light or outside in the sun. And I've been promising Tim for a long time that I would turn one of his blanks, and I own probably 12, 15 of his blanks, and I've always just kind of hesitated on turning them because I've always waited for the perfect opportunity or the perfect kit. Well, I think I found one. This is the Liberty Pin Kit, and it comes to us from McKenzie Pin Works. Yes, Tim McKenzie, the same guy who owns and makes the Diamond Cast blanks, makes the Liberty Pin Kits. And this is the kit. It's really a nice looking kit. I believe it's all stainless steel, and I've never turned one before. I'm looking forward to it. And I want you to know that this is not a gratuitous plug video. I don't do gratuitous plugs for companies, so I don't want you to think that. I'm just turning a blank and putting it on a pin kit. All right? So let's get busy. This kit uses a 27/64" tube, just like the Sierras or the Monarchs. And anytime I drill a blank made from Alumilite or any other type of resin, I like to lay my tube on the drill bit, and I like to mark it with a tape flag. Now, just like you would make a pencil mark, maybe 1/8 of an inch longer than the length of your blank, I put my flag about 1/8 of an inch farther up the bit than the length of my tube. Now we're going to go to our drill press, and we're going to drill into our tube, and when we hit the flag, we'll stop. At that point, we'll go to the bandsaw, and we'll cut our blank, and we will guarantee we do not have any type of blowout on our blank. Before we go to the drill press, I want to find the center of my blank. So I'm just going to use my centering tool. I'll lay it right on the blank, and we'll just make an X. For round blanks, this is good enough. And that should be the center of our blank. I'm going to use a punch to get my hole started. And now we're ready to go to the drill press. I've got the dimple on my blank, so I drop the little point of my bit right into that dimple. We know we're perfectly aligned, and we're ready to drill. With the blank drilled, I'm now going to mark the tube length on it. And once again, we're leaving just maybe a 1/16 of an inch at this end, a 1/16 of an inch at this end for a total of 1/8 of an inch. And now we're ready to head over to the bandsaw and cut our blank to length. Got the blank chucked up. I'm ready to start turning it. I apologize for it being toward the top of the video, but in this particular instance, my dust collector, it's right here. And if I bring it forward, it ends up covering half the blank. And I want you to be able to see the entire blank. Right before I start this turning, I put a new edge on my skew, and it's kind of got a little bit of a curve to it. And I'm used to a more flatter edge on the skew. and I noticed I had a little bit of a tough time turning. I'm not sure if it's because my edge is really that wrong or if it's just because I'm not used to this edge yet. I do have a nice fit at both bushings, but you can kind of see some tool marks along the blank. They will sand out, but if you're like me, I hate sanding. So I'm going to give this tool a couple of more tries on a couple of other blanks, especially wood blanks, just to see if the curve works for me. And if it doesn't, then I'll go back and put it back to a flat-faced skew. But let me get my sanding block and let's start sanding this blank. I've got the blank a little more centered in the frame for you now. I just finished sanding up to 400 grit. There are a lot of scratches in there, but they're very fine. We're about to hit this with the micro mesh, and I am going to work these pads for a very long time, probably 60 to 120 seconds per pad, re-wetting it constantly and working it into the blank. And it's going to transform this blank. Every one of those fine scratches is going to disappear, and this blank, when I get done, is going to pop. Take a look at the difference. Let me just dust this thing off a little bit, get some of the moisture off of it. Look at how that blank shines. Just take a look at that. That is simply micro mesh. The trick to getting this to look so nice is that sanding block. You might have seen when I first started sanding the shiny spots, the grooves from the tool marks. And the trick for me is just to use that block to get this blank flat from end to end. And once you get it flat, sanding is a piece of cake. I want to point something out to you. The bushings that Tim makes for these Liberty kits are really nice. I just turned this blank between centers, and now I've put it on a mandrel. So they've got a 60-degree dimple in the end of them, so you can turn between centers. And they have a 1/4-inch hole down the middle, so you can go right to a mandrel, whatever your preference is. Also, I noticed that this end is a little bit larger than this end. So this kind of has a taper to it. I thought it was very similar to a Sierra. It is a 27/64" tube, but I kind of like the taper. This is something a little different that you don't get with the Sierras and the Wall Streets and some of the other pins out there. So let's buff and see what she looks like. Lathe speed is up around 1280 to build a little heat, and let's start buffing. Take a look at that. That is going to look amazing pressed into a kit. I was preparing to assemble this kit and I noticed something about my blank. Take a look at this. I forgot to take this blank to the disc sander and square it. I'm going to do that now, and I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that that's not enough material to really change the diameter, because if it does, it's not going to fit really nicely next to the components of the pin. That's going to be a lot better. I'm now officially ready to assemble this kit. I'm going to start with the cap. We're going to feed it through the clip. I left the bushing on the front of the blank, so we'll go ahead and press this cap right into the back of our blank. There we go. Nice and tight fit. Oh yeah, that's really nice. Take a look at that fit. That is gorgeous. You see no lip. You feel no lip. That is one heck of a nice fit. Next up, let's assemble this little ferrule on the front of the pin. Really nice fit. We got lucky. That wasn't enough material to hurt us. Okay, we're done with the press. The rest of this can be assembled just by threading it together. There's the nib. Take a look at the spring. Now the small end of the spring goes onto the refill and the large end goes into the nib. We'll slide that right in. Here's your transmission. Put that in the pin and thread it. There we go. You can see we can eject and retract the ink. Let's slide our cap on. And there we have it. I am very sorry. I just realized my video was blurry during the assembly. So I wanted to get this up close to the camera so you could take a look at it. The blank is gorgeous. The kit is just amazing. A lot of weight to this kit. It's a very heavy kit. If you like that feel, I think you're going to like it. It's got a nice feel in the hand. I really like the concave section down here. It's going to make a nice pen for writing. I really hope you enjoyed this video tonight. This has been a long time in the making. I met Tim, I think in 2018 at the Mid-Ohio Valley, and he gave me a couple of blanks. I bought a couple of blanks. Almost every year, I end up buying or getting a couple of blanks given to me by Tim, and he's always encouraging me to turn them, and I have a bunch of them, including one that is the color of my car that I want to make bespoke pens out of. And I don't know why I've been so reluctant or nervous to turn them. I keep saving them, right? Like they're gold or something. And while they are wonderful blanks and they do have diamonds in them, so yeah, maybe they are kind of like gold, they turn super easy. This was just an amazingly simple blank to turn. And, you know, as far as blanks go, you're not going to find one that looks any nicer than this. Now, I am going to try to find a link to a company or two that sell Tim's blanks, because I don't believe he sells the blanks and the kits directly to people like you and I, unless we go to a show where he happens to be at. I believe he sells through companies that, other companies that distribute the pens and the kits. And I'm going to see if I can find 1 to 2 companies and put their information in the description below. And Tim, I apologize for taking so long to turn one of your blanks. They're amazing. Thank you for everything you do for the community. These pen kits are incredible. I truly appreciate it, and it's about time I did it. So here it is, buddy. Take care, everybody. I want you to know, including you, Tim, you are always welcome in my shop. Come back and see me again sometime. Have a great evening, everybody.